Hey girl, hey.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey.
Hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, 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 hey.
I had to do my hey girl, hey intro because of our special guest, and that's her
Yeah.
favorite.
Favorite. Let's see
Like,
if she does it when we call her.
mm-hmm.
All right. Black at it again for another not so private
Martini
conversation.
Mondays. Oh, not so private conversation. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not so private conversations with us, your favorite long distance besties. We are here, like Jeanne said, for another marvelous Martini Monday. We in full
Clink, clink.
effect. Extra dirty, extra olives, extra
Mm.
vermouth this week.
Extra gin.
If you know, then you know. If you don't know, don't even worry about it. Okay. How was your weekend?
My weekend was okay. It was kind of rainy, but I finally got to watch Black is King. I know I'm late to the party, but whatever.
Yes. Yes. It was so good.
It
My
was
weekend was
amazing.
was pretty dope. But when Mondays roll around, the start of a new week, that means time is winding up for the kids to return to school. So that means your girl is gonna be going back to work
Oh, yes.
virtually
You
first.
oh, okay. I was about to say, you know how Casey and JoJo say time keeps slipping away from me. It was like, man, this year has slipped away.
Yeah. We already in August. Next is gonna be September, then it's
Lord.
gonna be December, then the holidays are gonna come. I'm not even ready to think about socially distancing
We
and
having
quarantining
holidays this
holidays. Eh,
year?
eh, so we'll see. So LDBs, all of the teachers that are going back, all the students that's going back, send up some prayers for them,
Yeah.
please. It's about to be go time. And for some people, they've already gone back, so it's getting real out here.
I feel so bad for you and all the educator LDBs. I say a little prayer for you.
I feel bad for myself, so y'all keep praying for us. All right, let's jump in to this week's Not So Private Conversation. Joining us this week, our bestie. This is like our sister.
Yes.
We're the three amigas.
Mm-hmm.
We the three cheetah girls.
Cheetah girls, cheetah sisters.
Straight out of Queens, New York. Queens in the building.
Burr, burr,
But
burr, burr.
but she is Louisiana born and
Born and
raised.
bred, yes.
We gonna call our bestie Janesia. No government last name.
Mm-hmm.
Call her up.
Hey girl, hey.
Hey bestie, how you doing?
So good. How are y'all?
We're
Oh,
good.
we black at it.
Hello, black at it
Doing
again
what
in the street.
you know,
Or in the house, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
bored in the house and we in the house bored. That's
Working in the
how
house
it
and leaving the house
is.
drinking.
Mhm.
My TD Monday's in full effect. Did we clink earlier?
Clink, clink.
We could do it again.
Clink,
Clink, clink, clink.
clink, clink.
Yes. Limpton iced tea. Woo.
Mm-hmm.
And
So, how was your weekend, Janesia?
it was good. We did as much celebrating as we could. It was Lance's birthday.
Happy
It was
birthday,
nice.
Lance.
We just, pandemic
Mm-hmm.
keeping us with our edges snatched. We
Nice,
did what we could
girl.
do. We hung out on the roof, but that was about
Hey,
it.
Queens in the building.
Hey, I'll hang out on the roof during
You
quarantine.
sure
I'm
will.
all right with that.
It's nice.
I
It
don't
was
mind
good.
social distancing from people.
Listen, that's the other tea. Some of these things from quarantine we need to keep. There's a few things
Yeah.
that I don't mind saying. Literally nobody pops up at your house.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. That is the
Praise God.
Less capacity when you go places.
man.
Keep it. Let's keep
A
it.
few of these things need to stay in full effect. Getting an Uber, they don't even want to talk to you no more. Look at God, honey.
Right?
All the small talk has just been eliminated. People in the elevator,
Yes.
baby looking straight ahead. Ain't nobody trying to talk to
Yes.
you.
A blessing.
Got a
A
list of things
blessing.
that are not bad about 2020, and some of these coming right on into 2021 with me.
You know, keeping two virtues over here. Speaking of quarantine, we have been binging our tails off. Movies, TVs. Shoot, my binge game is so strong right now. Like in this month alone, between Netflix, Hulu, I just got HBO Max, Disney Plus, Apple TV. I got it all.
Everything.
So I think I'm covered. Like I've seen everything from Hamilton to Waco to Shameless to freaking Married at First Sight. I even watched Unsolved Mysteries, Jeanne.
I'm telling you, these Netflix originals have been on point. But all the originals, I've been watching Netflix originals, Amazon Prime originals, Hulu originals, Disney originals. It's
all
like
of it.
all the content, drop it right now so I could just binge.
Right.
Binge.
I even watched Last Chance U. I'm not even a football person, but that show is good.
Girl, I remember I was like, Janesia said last week that she watched the show that I watched. It was with the HBCU marching band.
Yes.
What was it called?
Marching Orders.
Marching Orders.
I haven't seen that one
good.
yet.
You need to watch it. Like they should have got more money for the production because it was so good. And for the longest, I would scroll past it. And I actually watched it right before quarantine and I was shocked. And now I'm like, where's season 2?
Yes. Hopefully they get more money for season 2. Step up the game a bit. But I was weak. It took me right back to the heat.
It did.
Feel. I was crying, laughing. And apparently there's a few lawsuits and stuff from that season. What happened with the Color Guard girls? But Moesha is on Netflix now.
All the black shows are coming to Netflix.
All of them. Listen, they talk about the
Netflix
Black
for the
Lives
win.
Matter collection. Baby, this should have been here, but we appreciate you. Come on with it because Moesha was hitting.
Man.
All the same black celebs, like Gabrielle Union was on it. I was like, Gabrielle was on this too?
Yes.
Just like the Cosby Show.
Yes.
Everybody had to do their little spot on the Cosby Show.
Everybody named Mama. Even the like celebrity, like basketball players, football players, musicians would be on there. But nowadays, you don't like find like a whole band on an episode and then they bust out and perform on the episode.
Right. So speaking of like streaming and binging, the show that caught my full attention was that doggone Indian matchmaking show. First of all, because, I have a special place in my heart for Indian culture. Bollywood is my jam. Oh, it's my jam. I love it.
She's such a
Are we going to talk about you? Hell no. Are we going to talk about you and your Korean movies and your Chinese movies?
Hello.
Hey.
All right. But I truly love and appreciate, I do not appropriate the culture. But secondly, what was so interesting about this show was the tradition of arranged marriages. That's always been interesting to me because for them, marriage ain't about love. Like arranged marriages have been a part of Indian culture since the 4th century. That's like way back since Ben. Like, and so with arranged marriages, there are like actual functions that they have a list of things that they truly function by. So listen to this. The first thing that like arranged marriages serves the Indian community by helping social satisfaction systems in that society. Then it gives the parents control over the family members. Yep. Then it enhances the chances to preserve and continue their ancestral lineage. Then it provides an opportunity to strengthen the kinship within that family group. And then it allows them to consolidate and extend their family property, which we know the basis of marriage from the beginning. And then it enables the elders to preserve the principle of endogamy. And before I even like watched the show, I had heard of endogamy, and that just means marrying within a specific social group or an ethnic group and rejecting those that they deem unsuitable for marriage or other close personal relationships. So like that's common there. Can you imagine being set up to be married with a total stranger?
Yeah.
Crickets.
Right. I couldn't imagine it, but how they did it on the episode with the matchmaker, where some of them, like Nadia, reached out on her own to find someone. So
But
like,
think about why though, because they subscribe to these
yeah,
functions. So they
yeah,
play
these
it. They're
ideals.
really the ideals is set up to be chess, not checkers. Like this is a system that runs like a well-oiled machine. Only now are they starting to get away from that and realize that arranged marriages, you don't have to do that. You can marry on your own volition and love who you love or whatever. But I was amazed watching this show that it takes all of that. And who was doing the deciding? The
The
families.
family, yeah.
The people they were matching together really did not have much of a say so. I thought that was amazing. So
it seemed like the more money they had, depending on the classes, the
yes.
more involved the family was. Like they're talking about family businesses, properties, all this kind of stuff. Who was it? Preteen?
Mm-hmm.
I was watching this show. I watched this with my husband. Like we thought it was the craziest thing. We binge watched it in 2 days. And I'm literally watching Preteen talk about all the things, telling them literally when they're going to have a baby, when they're going to get married. And we're sitting there looking at the home and we're like, this home is ridiculous. We know these people have money. She's laying out all the gifts she's going to give the woman. I told my husband, I said, I don't care how much money, how many gifts, what kind of homes, land. There is no way on God's green earth I would put up with that.
Yeah.
For that type of marriage. Like that's insane to me to have that much involvement. But I had to also step back and say, but that's a different culture. You have to recognize while to you it's in like so much, that's normalcy to certain classes and everything else that they have. So it was so captivating because it is so different. But there are certain things watching it that I was like, I wish the Black community did some of this preservation. Not
exactly.
Good
but
point.
the amount of preservation, the amount of let's provide really together. Because sometimes attitudes of, I don't care what they got going on. We doing our own thing. We over here.
Right.
There's so much of that. And that's what I'm thinking. And I was like, hold up, bring some of this back. There's some of these things that we could really, as a community, benefit
Adapt.
from, pass more on to our kids and just have a much stronger unit.
Yeah.
So, Janesia, I think you were talking about Akshay and his mom, how his mom was like the one who was like, oh, my BP levels are getting too high. Yeah. Okay. So.
Pretty.
Right. So I'm just going to fast forward straight to the match. With the match that they found for him, I was very surprised that the girl would be willing to do all the do the things that the mom had, like all these stipulations that she had to do, like for her to be married in her family. And when they were sitting at the table and they asked her what she was looking for in a partner, and she was talking about how she wanted someone she could talk to and express her feelings to, and the mom looked at her and was like, okay, like
like we don't do that here.
Like feelings.
What are
All
those?
we want to know is if you can cook, can you clean, can you have babies?
And like that mom was like, can you be like my other daughter-in-law and basically fall in line? And
because my other daughter-in-law is like me and I live this life. Like it's all the same.
Yeah. So his character, he was just, for his family, it seemed like it was more of the traditional, more extreme than it was for like characters like Nadia, who was pretty laid back, you know. it seems like his family was way more involved. His mom and his dad, his mom for sure. For Nadia, her mom was involved, but it seemed like she was doing this more of her own free will. Like she was the one who reached out to Seema, the matchmaker, versus Akshay. His mom had been working with the matchmaker for a while and told her, we getting him married by the end of this year and you need to find a match because I already started planning this wedding.
So let's talk about the matchmaker herself. So Seema Taparia.
Seema Auntie.
Auntie Seema.
Right. She's a well-renowned Indian matchmaker. And she is hired and paid to match potential partners. And like, I guess it's that she matches them like knowing that they need to be married very quickly, I'm assuming. She met her husband when she was 19 years old and she spoke to him on the phone for 20 minutes and it was a wrap. Oh, we getting married. That's it. Can you imagine talking to some rando for 20 minutes? Well, in 3 months, we're going to get married. And it was a done deal. Like, that's it.
And she's been married for 30 years
and she's
now.
been married and they seem to really like each other, really respect each other. And he helps her
with
in her matchmaking endeavors. Like, talk about, I would be in culture shock. I can't even lie. I just couldn't imagine. But then again,
understanding that is the thing and knowing
that's the thing.
I'm going to have a marriage where I grow to love someone.
Yes.
They accept that and they embrace it. To me, that's why it works for so many.
Yes.
Right.
Because they fully embrace and plan to learn to love that person and grow to love them. Whereas we're like, let me get there first.
I need to love you first.
Do I need to love you though?
Yeah.
I mean, I want to.
Exactly.
It seemed like looks wasn't that important, but skin tone was very important. It was things like skin tone and height.
And height, baby.
Yeah.
Tall.
Yes. And I didn't realize in the Indian culture, a tall woman was like very important, like an important asset to a marriage and brought on like luck and good fortune.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know that's what a tall woman represented.
These families, these groups of families and how they operate, they have this stuff set up from way back. They have made plans for you. They got plans for your kids and they got plans for your kids' kids. So we can keep this train running. Like that's how they function. It's one of those crazy things that we can't imagine it working for us because it's us. But it works for them because this is what they know. Now they do say that there are, what did they say? Love marriages.
It's regular marriage and it's love marriage.
Love marriage.
There's no such thing as arranged marriage.
Is marriage to them. Yeah. And then love marriage is like, oh, you can go choose to do that if you want to.
Right.
It's crazy. I have some friends and some old colleagues who this one particular person, she met her husband and didn't know him from the next guy, got married. She has 2 children. They live in a house with his parents and with his brother and his brother's family. And it works. It works. And I'm like, I don't want to live with nobody mama and nobody daddy and nobody else kids.
Brother, like brother's wife, the kids.
Can you imagine? But again, it goes back to those 6 functions. I guess the grandparents in that sense, they control what happens in that house. And it works because one of their ideals in that culture is that they have the utmost respect for their elders. And they do not go against what they say.
They do listen to them, but at the same time, I did notice, like, if they didn't like the person, they did not mind telling their parents, like, no.
Nowadays.
Yes,
but back then,
on the show.
On the show now, it's like modern day. Right. They're much more outspoken. And I thought it was interesting that the first girl, Parna, as soon as I saw her.
Let's get into these characters real quick.
As soon as I saw Parna.
Totally different. So like The Nadia, Aparna, totally different.
Bruh.
I texted Jeanne and was like, Aparna ain't gonna find no match.
Janesia, what did you think about Aparna?
2024.
What did you think about Aparna and like her attitude?
Let me put out a disclaimer first. I love an independent woman who knows what she wants and sets her standards. But there is a bit of a difference between somebody setting standards and somebody who hates everybody and hates her own job and her own life and can't see nothing that she has going on.
Preach.
It was crazy to me whenever she goes out to dinner with the other lawyer and he's like, oh, I love my job. I love what I do. She's like, really? I hate my job. I can't believe someone would love it. Da, da, da. It's like, what can we discuss? You like literally, and
yes.
After the meeting, she's like, it's a big tell whenever I don't hate someone immediately after.
Right.
I was like, man, I think, I don't know. I don't like to just throw this around, but I think Aparna needs to do some therapy on her own and learn to love herself first.
But Aparna did say, well, I don't think there's anything that I would change about myself. I like everything about me.
She also said there was nothing that she needed to work on.
And that's the thing. You just need to be alone, hopefully, and enjoy yourself. If you're happy with yourself, that is wonderful because you were wasting see my auntie time. Then she had to be rude to see my auntie. And that's
right.
I was find me someone. Just find someone. Who you want her to find? Jesus is not looking. I know what we're gonna put up with it.
Seema's eye rolls were epic.
She kept saying how she was so rigid, and that was so true. Aparna, I feel like when you were talking about that date, the other lawyer, his name was Shaker, and that date with Shaker, he was such a sweetie. And the fact that even when they talked about vacation places and he mentioned somewhere he would like to go, she was like, why would you want to go there? Like, it's just, I hated it when I went there. Like, why do you travel? I was so surprised that she loved to travel because I'm like, you hate everything and everywhere. Like, why do you even like to travel?
She's such a Debbie Downer, and
She seemed like one of those people. She seemed like one of those people who always like to go the opposite way, like from positivity. Like, I don't know. She just seemed like one of those people who just, she doesn't want to seem like she's in the bulk group of people.
She's contrary. She's a contrarian.
She's a contrarian. So she always likes to play the contrarian role and seem like she's just so unique in her thought process to where, oh, everyone likes this, but no, I'm unique and I'm on my own and I'm an individual, so I'm on this side. But it was more like annoying and just like a complainer and like, I don't even know how you have friends because I would have left your ass home if you was my friend. You would never go nowhere with me.
And I still stand by the fact that the guy who was like doing her fortune telling situation, he was just trying not to hurt that girl's feelings. He knew she ain't had no matching them cards. Like, didn't nobody want her. Seema could not match her with nobody because she was going to dog them out. She was going to find something to nitpick about, something to complain about. I called it from the jump, did I not?
Yes.
You did.
This heifer going to stay single.
She's going to stay single forever. What she said?
And guess what?
I don't like comedy. Who don't like to laugh?
She lives in Houston.
Football, comedy, nothing.
Girl, bye.
Your job, your life, your house.
She's just existing.
She can take her somewhere else. Yeah, she can go be married to her job that she don't like because ain't nobody gonna marry her. Sorry, not sorry.
Bye.
What about the other guy? I'm gonna butcher his name.
Are you talking about
Pradyuman?
Pradyuman?
I did not like him from the very beginning.
I did not like P.
He gave me bad vibes. He gave me very immature, still want to be a bachelor, very conceited, but I know my parents expect me to get married soon type of vibes. But the fact that maybe people's perception of him was that he was handsome or that he was like very well put together. I didn't get those vibes from him. I did not think he was even half the cute that he thought he was. I just was like, he doing too much. He has an outfit for every hour of the day in his closet, like old girl from Clueless. She can press the button and her closet start rotating. Like he had dresses for his whatever the little god was.
Oh yeah,
He had
he
an
would change them
outfit.
every day.
That god had more clothes and shoes than I do. And I'm just like,
I was like, can I be that god? They got a better collection than me.
He gave me bad vibes, and he was like, yeah, I can enjoy a conversation with this girl. We can match, but that don't mean I'm gonna give her a call.
Like, but he didn't really like sit down and visit with that many matches. He would just like ignore everything Auntie Sima would send him and just kind of being a little rude. And you can tell he was from a prominent family. And I wonder if that had something to do with it. Because it seemed like him and Akshay, like families had a lot of similarities. Yeah, when it came to their expectations from a marriage.
If a Parna is just a contrarian, then what did you call him? P is just flat out anti. He was totally going against the grain. And I was like, you know what? You coming on this show so that you can potentially find a match. If you didn't want to find a match, why are you doing the show? Why did you even agree to it? Since you're so anti whatever your parents want.
But you saw his sister was on that ass.
Sima Auntie nailed it with him from the beginning, because he was like opposite from Aparna. He is completely in love with himself. Completely in love with his life. He's wealthy. They got it going on. He does what he wants when he wants. Ain't got to worry about nothing. Look him in his face. He ain't got no worries. Right. Like, he is loving his life. And she walked into his massive closet and she's like, where would your partner go? Like, is there any space for a partner in here? There is not a space for a partner in his life at this moment.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
Not a thing. He is into his own thing. He is in that selfish frame of mind. And like, unlike Akshay, like, while they are both young and their families are pushing them to do this and they're wealthy and they have all this stuff they have to do and these expectations, his was so different from Akshay's in the sense that Akshay just seemed like he wasn't ready, but he's more soft-spoken and more reserved and he wants to make his family happy. Whereas P is like, I'm gonna get with somebody whenever I want to get with them, if I like them, if I feel like doing it, and if she look cute with my outfit that day. It was so interesting just to watch and see the dynamics of it, but he in love with himself.
You know, P's friends said at the table, and he denied that he was going to settle down when she found him a really good looking woman. And that's exactly what happened. She ended up finding him a model, and that's the person he ended up going out with and connecting with. So it's like, it just kind of like a tale towards his character. Like, he wasn't looking for something serious. It's kind of like he was just looking for entertainment for the time being.
And I thought the model might have possibly been the only one that would have worked with him. Like, that's exactly what it seemed like he wanted. I was like, that didn't work either. It's a wrap. Like,
the kind of conversation he was having with her, I was surprised that she was still into him by the end of that day. Because it seemed like he was like really into himself, even like holding a conversation with her. It's like, yeah, you might be rich, but she a whole model. Like, people are paying to see her. You just rich and your family just rich, son. Like, take a step back. Like, you ain't fine at all.
So, what did y'all think about what's his name, Yasser or Vassar?
Vassar. I love Vassar. I loved his character.
It's important that just because they matched, it didn't mean that they were gonna. The first match wasn't gonna make it. I think who was his first match? Rashi?
This is the guy that was in Austin, right?
Yeah. He was a teacher.
They were very hopeful, but I think she knew early on, because she was just giving it was all over her face. She was like, I think she was looking at his looks and she was like, yeah, he ain't it. But she tried anyway because that's a part of the culture. I think that she was just like, yeah, no, I didn't see it happening. But I wonder what that means in that culture. Like, why do they put themselves out there knowing that they're going to probably nowadays be
Oh,
rejected more than they would be
Mm-hmm.
accepted, because it's a whole process.
I think once they match, I think the pressure's already on. But then once you match, it's like the extreme pressure's on because they're like, oh, they finally matched with somebody. Now it's time to start planning the wedding.
Right.
So I think that's why she was trying so hard. But you can tell, like, by the second conversation, she was just like, and then by the third conversation, it was just like, girl, you just need to like let this go. This is just awkward to watch. You trying
It was very
to
awkward.
just have a conversation with him. You don't even seem like you want to have a conversation with him. You get mad over simple things. Like, this is literally y'all's third time talking, period. And you're getting mad over him about something so stupid. It's obvious that this is not working.
It ain't
so
for you.
just cut the cord. And she did, and it was very awkward for me to watch. I was like, oh.
Do you feel like he knew it was coming?
I think he knew, and I think he handled it really well. Because I was like, wow, he is handling this like so well right now. But you can still see like the hurt on his face, and that's the part that was hard for me to watch. It was because you can tell he had it's like he had his hopes up more than she did that it was going to work. And I think it had something to do with his past and his family.
Oh yeah, he had a rough.
So he had a lot riding on this, because remember, this was his first time attempting the matchmaking process, because everybody else he dated before this was white. You remember he talked about that?
He tries hard.
Yeah.
Like, you can see in all the interactions, you see him like working hard. Just in normal, like, for acceptance and stuff is how it comes across.
Now
he
was
the most heartbreaking, I think.
Yeah,
I think.
But his second match is.
I thought
it seemed like it was
work out.
Yeah.
Let's say y'all are in their shoes. Y'all are single. Hypothetical. You know, we like to do some hypotheticals over here. Y'all are single. You are at the age where they looking at you like, okay, it's about that time.
So this age, the age I am now.
So my life today.
So like when I go home, like now. Okay.
Mom's just having a normal conversation like, well, my grandkids at, when are you going to get married? So imagine that's your life, and not that you necessarily have to be matched by a matchmaker, but that there is some sort of a service, or you have a friend who wants to play matchmaker. Are you for it or are you against it? Because I hear a lot of people say, I want to just meet people the old fashioned way. Or would you allow, that too. You know, I just want to meet somebody in the grocery store, meet somebody at church, or find some love in the club. Or would you, let a matchmaker match you up?
If I were single, honestly, watching the show, watching how they do it, because these bio datas are like resumes.
Right.
They're personal resumes. Exactly. Honestly, if I were
dating profile
at this point, I would want to see my auntie.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I
would totally do it. I would go out on some dates and check it out. It's actually the system of it, the way they match people up. It's totally different than how I ever thought that it was.
It's less superficial, because like the person, they state like what they want and what they're looking for in a relationship, and you can say that people do these on on dating sites, but are they really? Dating sites are a lot like Instagram profiles, where it's curated to make it look like you have it all together. But it seemed like with Auntie Sema, it was like she had all your information from like points, statements
she
that
knew
friends,
family.
Yeah, the families, like what family had to say about you, what close friends had to say about you.
She knew your sixth grade report card.
Yeah,
she knew your college GPA. Like she knew everything to be able to build good, like you said, bio data, so that she could present the other person.
And to use her services, you had to be serious about relationships, because that guy Vinay, Like she gave him a second chance, and then after he messed up with Nadia, like that stuff goes onto his bio data. So it's not like someone else who's looking for a match is going to get matched with him, because on his bio data it says that he's not serious about relationships.
Right. There's no rater system on
Tinder,
on Tinder and Bumble and Hinge, and I don't know about like what's the other one? eHarmony and stuff. Like there's no rating system like, he didn't pay for the date, do not recommend. Like there's no stuff like that, or he ghosted me, do not recommend. It's none of that. But I think Seema put together like her best portfolio on these people.
Did y'all know like the portfolios was actually like regular, schmegular portfolios, like handwritten, like line by it. It was no Excel worksheet.
Well, I remember her showing like she'd bring them the printout.
Right.
She'd go meet with them.
Right. But the actual bio data, her and her husband would be flipping through
yes, handwriting in like one of the first episodes.
Right.
Wow.
I was like, look at all these notes.
And they were going down, because whenever they did the shot, they were looking at ages and height. It was like something like that. She wanted somebody tall. It was interesting. One of the things they got a lot of flack for, the criticisms were about the colorism, that kind of thing. And it was so interesting because I have a close friend who's Indian, and I talked to her about it because I was obsessed with the show. I loved it. I watched it in 2 days. And she was like, unfortunately, it doesn't show us in the best light. And I hadn't thought about, the first time I watched it, I wasn't thinking colorism. I wasn't thinking, the class systems, the colorism, the height, all those sorts of things. I wasn't thinking about it. And you hate to say it, but every culture has their own version.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
I watched another culture show and did not think about it, but I thought about it after the fact. If this had been a Black dating show and it was constantly, this is the type of skin color I want, this is the height I want, this is this. If it had been that, we would have been living.
Right.
Like, this is how you gonna come up here and do it.
Right.
So it's very interesting to hear another culture doing the same thing that we typically do whenever there's a show that represents us. And we are very particular about it and how we want to be seen in the world, because there's only so many shows.
Right.
So that's been another interesting fact. And I've been kind of keeping up with the criticisms too, because to me, I just loved it. I'm like, when is season 2? I can't wait to see.
Right.
And obviously none of these worked out. So it's going to be, I don't know if she's going to bring any of them back and try. I don't even know if it's going to be a season 2.
Wait, like, didn't Akshay and his worked out because they had like a stop ceremony, which meant that she wasn't available to be engaged
to be engaged to anybody else. Wait, how you know?
That was in an article that they have.
Somebody been keeping up.
They had an article that was like, where are they now? So there was a little bit of like question, because one of the articles said that he was like, they found out something else about her a few days later. And so they broke it off. But then he said he wasn't sleeping after that happened. And so it was 2 different kind of responses that they got from him or from his family, giving a reason why it ended up ultimately working. So I'm like, well, did she give back the jewelry?
Well, I would have kept that. Because we already had the ceremony.
I thought from the beginning, and I'm pretty sure, when you combine like the cameras plus like your love life plus the pressure from your parents, like I thought he was like emotionally disconnected. I was like, he looked nervous. He looked like he don't want to be here.
Like he was a deer in the headlights. Like every time they had the meeting with his mom and Auntie Seema, she was like, I know Akshay would also like these characteristics in a woman too. And I'm like, did you ask him?
Right.
And then the camera would pan over to him and he would be like,
she asked him and he was like, you pick.
Seriously. So he was just so disconnected. He was like, whatever my mama want, I'm gonna make it work. And I was like, bro, Akshay, this is gonna be your wife. Like, your wife.
A little more input. But I wanted to
never been kissed.
Oh my God. Yeah, well, that was obvious.
Oh, Akshay.
You know what? Akshay family had that butt.
They
And you knew, it's like, I didn't realize it until the scene where his driver pulled up and dropped him off in the Maybach. And I was like, oh, and then when he walked into work, and I guess that was his family's name, and then group, and I was like, oh, they got that bread. That's why his mama wants someone from a business family. So they're already used to this type of life. So she doesn't have to like pretty much train somebody.
Right.
And they have to learn how to be in the same household as her, because that's what would happen. They get married.
She moves into his family's house.
And it's his mom's rules.
Oh, absolutely.
His mom is the head of the household at that point until she passes away. And I was like, so she goes, it's my house, it's my rules. I was like, oh, hell. Now, that's the one thing
Preeti wasn't playing.
I wouldn't mind. You're right. You know what? I love Akshay's 16-year-old cousin, though.
Yes.
She had me cracking up. She was so funny. She'd be like, the way she would clown his mama all the time was so funny.
That must be her biological aunt. I wanted to look it up after the fact and find out. I was like, got to be.
It got to be the way she talking about her. But anyways, sorry, I just got off subject for a while. Let's bring it to one of our faves on this show, Nadia. I love
Nadia, my girl. That's my favorite for sure. Yes. I just felt so bad for her because she was trying to be matched, but she didn't identify as Indian like everybody else. She was Guyanese, but her family did have Indian roots. I just felt really bad for her because that girl was beautiful. She had so
sweet.
A great personality.
I thought that was it for her and Shaker. I was like, this is perfect.
It was adorable. Right? She had her own thing going on too, though. So she was like not necessarily looking to marry into a person's family to be up under this family. She had her own business. She was, thriving. She was just looking for her life partner. And what's the boy's name?
Vinay or Shaker?
Mess my girl over.
Ghosted her?
Yes.
Vinay.
You not gonna co-sign his ghosting today?
Stuff that was a different type of ghosting because
hospital.
Right. One, they had been on like 6 dates. Like they had crossed the ghosting timeline.
They were past the ghosting threshold.
Yeah. And his lie the first time, remember when he was like, he showed his arm and I was like, did he draw those dots on his arm for the show so it looked legit? Right. And then the second lie, I'm arguing with my sister when you just text me like 30 minutes ago and told me you're on your way.
I do wonder how much of that was editing, because these reality shows and how they chop up editing and they move stuff around. I wonder if that was for the storyline or if he really was as bad as it seemed. Because I know he put out a statement in that article, right, Janesia?
He put out a statement saying something about the time that he was in the hospital. From what I remember, he defended. And he was like, I had told her earlier what was going on. He was like, I wanted to meet up with her later in the day after the whole hospital incident. And then she didn't. So he kind of claims that he was ghosted eventually. But then she came back and was like, after all that drama, yes, I did stop talking to him after the fact. So who knows?
She was well within her rights to stop talking to him after that.
Well within.
Even if it was the show that made him look bad, that's my favorite on the show.
Like she had like a diverse social group of friends. She was very involved in Indian culture. So she loved her culture and appreciated it, but she also saw like the beauty in other cultures, and you can tell that by the people she hung around and how she held herself. And like her situation was like the saddest for me. I I wanted her to find her happiness the most out of everybody
I
else.
definitely wanted her to have like happily ever after. I was like, she's just so cute. She has such a great personality. Such contrast from a Parnas ass. It's like,
and then
get her off my screen.
Shaker said he wanted someone that was a feminist.
Yes.
And independent. Like his criteria.
Check.
Right. It was all Nadia. So they didn't work out.
I want receipts on why.
Yeah.
They didn't work out.
Somebody gonna have to let me know why that did not work. See my auntie, if there's a season 2, we would like to have Nadia back. First and foremost, episode 1, we would like to see Nadia.
And now the girl at the end, it left on a cliffhanger.
Which one? Are you talking about the new girl or are you talking about Ankita?
Not Ankita. We totally skipped over her. I didn't find her that interesting for whatever reason. But there was one girl. I do too. I just felt like hers. I feel like they just kind of threw her in there.
Yeah.
Ankita was the independent one who had her own clothing line, her own, right? That's who you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh,
I mean,
also,
I feel like they showed enough for us to get a sense of like the type of person Ankita was. But at the end, she decided that she was gonna focus on herself and she wasn't gonna get matched anymore. So she kind of withdrew her application.
Yeah, I think she wants a love marriage. She doesn't want an arranged marriage at all. She even said, I think on Instagram, that she just wants like old school romance. She's not into the whole I'm gonna abide by my culture thing. So you
couldn't tell she was not feeling it
she wasn't feeling
at all. And Janesia, like you said earlier, there's nothing wrong with a woman being independent. She wasn't like a Parna, but Ankita was just she seemed like she was so independent and so used to it that she would have a hard time letting somebody in. It didn't matter if it was a love marriage or a marriage.
I think she had some walls up. It would take a lot for those, I guess, to come down, but
you know,
she said she got a mind of her own. She can do her own thing.
It did break my heart when she went see the other matchmaker. Girl, I was staring at the TV like, what is happening? Like, I did not expect her to give her that type of advice. Like, when Auntie Sima said she dealt with younger clients who weren't as traditional. So I was thrown when her ideals that she was trying to push on Ankita were so traditional and telling her what she had to be. And like, also, why everybody, like from the matchmakers to Ankita and Ankita's family, tried to make it seem like Ankita was just ugly as fuck?
That broke my heart too, though. Like,
was it the colorism thing?
I think it was a combination, because that's where some of her walls came from for sure. Because she talked about how far back they were like saying things about it. I don't even know that it was so much colorism. She was talking about just being attractive or not altogether.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they put on her from a young person. If I had gone through that my whole life, I'd be like, I'm Gucci by myself too. Gucci. Y'all or them. Everybody can kick rocks. It was sad to hear the things that she had been told by family members trying to match her and stuff like that. Like, it was a lot. It was body, it was colorism, it was attractiveness. It was just sad to hear all of it. And again, that goes on in all cultures too.
That's true.
People are brutal. They put some stuff on kids. It's sad. Hate to see it.
You hate to see it.
You know, I kind of stopped feeling bad for her for a hot second when she was like so against this match with this man because he had been married before, and how the way she was reacting to it, her telling Auntie Sima, you know, we would have liked to know before. I understand that. But then her just being like, oh no, I would never.
Made the just deal out of it. Like, you withheld this information from me. He's divorced. Like that truly meant something.
Earth shattering. Like, whenever she got the phone call, guess what I found out? What? I thought he had a rap sheet. I just knew a mug shot was coming for something ridiculous and insane. He was divorced. Girl, bye. Threw my remote.
And for her being an independent woman, I was shocked that she was reacting that way about something like this. Well, her being a modern woman, like she was saying, I was just shocked that she would react that way just by somebody that was divorced. They took it very seriously because it wasn't just her. It was that other girl. They didn't really show her love, but she was, she
was divorced and she had a child as well.
What was Sikh? They were Sikh. Her and her dad were Sikh. Or did they pronounce it Sikh?
Sikh.
Yeah. That's crazy that the people who are actually a part of that culture call it Sikh, because my whole life I thought it was Sikh.
Same.
But her dad remember she was like, well, he's divorced too. Right. And then her dad was like, oh, hell no. And it was like when Auntie Seema was like, well, your daughter's also divorced, he got even madder. Don't compare my daughter's situation to his. It's like
double standards up in this mug. I thought she was really interesting, even though they didn't show her that much, because she was divorced. She had a child. Yeah. She was trying to get Auntie Seema to hook her up.
More of her.
But she took matters into her. She took matters into her own hands, and she Tinder bae, and was actually like. I think the interesting thing is that she was paying a grip to Seema to be matched, and she got that free match. So I'm like, she should have.
And he was Sikh. Sorry, and it's a habit. And he was sick, and he was divorced, and he had a child.
Right. So while we talking about, these dating apps, she found love. I guess she seemed like Tinder is such a hopeless place. But she found love with this dude. Did he have kids? Was he divorced as well? They had a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
Right. She seemed like she was very smitten with that dude.
Yeah.
I thought hers was interesting, and they really could have just left Ankita out and showed more of Rupam, because I liked her.
Oh, that was her name. Okay, I forgot what her name was.
I liked her too. Her personality was it was more like a Nadia, like a free, more like open type of personality.
I feel really bad, like when you're married and you think you're going to be together forever, and then you have a child and you're moving forward, and then just some crap happens, life happens, you get divorced, and then especially in these very like rigid cultures, you think that you're stained or tainted because divorce, and now you're like, nobody's going to want me because I've been divorced, or I'm a part of this very small percentage where like the pool is very small for me because nobody. Not
even that, because she's also was a single mom, so
that's what I was going to say.
Adding on top of that,
not only am I divorced, but now I have a child. Nobody's going to want to raise my child. Like it sucks, and that's not just in Indian culture. That's in every
culture.
It's across the board. But like I said, she found Tinder bae, so hopefully that worked out. We don't have any updates on that though.
Yeah, they said that she's not on social media apparently. So,
yeah,
she was to get that date.
Right. She ain't got no Facebook,
she on a different
Instagram.
Type of social media.
she on them dating apps though.
Social media.
Well, geez. But yeah, I thought she was really interesting. I mean, of course, you wish them all the best, but Aparna can kick rocks. I ain't even going to lie.
Go to the Grand Canyon.
I really, like, I
all
took
the day long.
I guess it's because she was from Houston, and I was like, I know exactly where she's at. I know what neighborhood she lives in. I know what bar they went to. I took that really personal, like, girl, you could be out here flourishing in love, but instead you be in a stick in the mud. Get on, you wasting our time. Aparna could kick rocks. Nadia deserves all the love.
Nadia's story. That was literally me every time she came up there being angry. And in the second episode, her and her mama were just doing the most. Just find me someone.
My God. When her mom was getting mad at Auntie Seema, I was like, do you see your daughter? You know your daughter. Like, why are you acting like you don't know how your daughter be acting?
Like mother, like daughter.
Also, I love Seema Auntie. Seema Auntie.
She was cool. The shady look she was
The
giving.
shade, Lord, the shade.
They edited her so funny.
About this astronomy, the guy that she was going to, the astrologer. I don't even know if I'm using the correct term for what
They call it face reader.
does.
Yeah, he's a face reader.
I'm like, I want the face reader.
He's accurate.
Talking like, can we go to do that? It's expensive. I was looking it up. I was like, oh, never mind. We ain't gonna do that. I'll look up this little zodiac.
escape, delete.
It's like, do all right, okay. But, like, interesting. I've never heard of this kind of stuff. But you also think about it. I don't think any of us have ever been actually set up, like even by a friend. Like,
so that's what I was gonna ask y'all. Okay, I'm so glad you like segued us right into that. Have y'all ever been set up on a date, a blind date, a date with a family friend? No. Not even in college?
Never even got to experience Tinder.
Me neither, girl. It's
like these are things that like we have never really.
Yeah, we've never really been. You're right.
Child, it ain't nothing on them apps. Let me tell you.
To say that the show, it was just so different from how we live our lives and the people that we know around us, like live our lives and how they date and find partners. It was just very interesting, and I took a lot of positive. I took more positive away from it than negative. That's for sure. And a lot of things I feel like can be adopted into other cultures just to make like the dynamic of family stronger. Versus self, because it seems like nowadays we're more geared to being selfish and worried about what we have going on than worry about the family structure and what everybody, kind of helping everybody out and being there for everybody, having everybody's back. And that's how they used to do it back in the day. So I don't feel like there's anything necessarily wrong with it, but it was a fun conversation to have. So I'm glad Janesia was able to join us today.
Finally.
And cheers to y'all. I love listening to the Not So Private podcast. It's a blast. It's a joy. It's also just incredible people that have been friends since middle school. Like, it's just amazing to see y'all now doing your thing. Like, just it's amazing to watch. So I enjoy listening. I'm thrilled. I'm honored y'all let me come on and chit chat and keep.
Of course.
Y'all for the Not So Private podcast.
Well, there you girl pluggers. And we definitely want you on way more so you can kiki some more with us.
Oh, for sure.
Just come. I'm always around.
LDBs never know. We might have another co-host for the Not So Private pod.
That's a good idea.
You don't like me that much now. Now at home, we like just the two.
We gonna work it out. Watch.
We gonna work it out.
They would love you, and they are our LDBs, so they don't have no choice but to love you. So they don't really have a choice. They can listen.
Exactly.
But you go take care of your mommy duties, and we will holler at you later.
Later, Gator.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much, long distance besties, for joining us again for another Not So Private conversation. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram at Jeanne V. Williams. That's at Jeanne, Jeanne V. Williams, and at Perfectly Mia. That's at Perfectly MIA. And if you have any topic suggestions or any questions, you just shoot us an email at notsoprivatepod@gmail.com.
Make sure you hit the subscribe button. We definitely appreciate it. Remember to leave a review on Spotify, Apple, and Google. You can also find us at Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Overcast, and Breaker. And you can find us on anchor.fm/NotSoPrivatePod. Now you can also hear us on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Not So Private Podcast channel. Now, with all of that being said, join us next time for another Not So Private conversation.